Okay, so today's topic, we are going to know about how to use name managers. Okay, so what exactly the name manager means and how to create it. Let's say this is our table. So to get this as name manager, what we need to do first, we need to select the range here and then go to your name box. This is your name box, and you can give the name to your table. Let's say if I mention this as like city population, if I give this as name, right? So whenever I'm going to use the formulas now, okay, or the another way to do it is, let's say I'll select the whole table, I'll paste it here, and here what I'm going to do is I'm going to name this. So where we need to go to the formulas, name manager, click on name and give the appropriate name, what exactly you would require to show. Let's say city underscore population. Population. So what I've done, I've given the reference from A1 to D6. When I click on OK, so my name manager is created over here, right? So when I say equals to city, now you see it works as your formula also. All right. Right. So how to use this into formulas, we'll see later. But this is how you are going to create your name manager. Okay. This is one way. Now, next, it is not compulsion that it should be a whole table. You can give the whole array also, or set of arrays, or two columns and set of rows also, right? And the third example is to create with the names what we have seen by giving the name like city A30 to D35. This becomes your whole table. Now, if I write like, let's say Control G equals to city underscore, what was the name given us? City under population. If I type this way, right, the text entered is not valid, reference of definition name. So if I get as like city and P as capital, P was small. Okay, let's go with small. Space after? There is no space allowed here. It is equals to underscore population. See, new population, if I go. So here I have given the name in this sheet, right? Control G equals to city population. It got selected. Previously, how it was? Control G, just give the cell reference, A1000. So it will take you to that place. But this time what I have done, underscore city population, right? Whatever you have used till now, it will reflect here. Just select this. Here you give it as equals to. Click on OK. It will redirect you to that particular table. So there are many ways, different ways where we are going to use this. Okay. Now I'll come back to here. When you say these names are used under indirect also. Now how indirect is going to help us. Okay. So in that case, what we are going to do is we are going to use the function in it. Okay. Let's see how. Now, if I sum this, right? So how much is the total? I have got like 17,700 is the total of the sales. Yes. Now, if I talk about sum of sales, okay. So how the total we are getting is sum equals to sales. How? For example, let's say this is our sales values, right? So I'll select this and I can create a name manager for this as well. Okay. Let me create here itself. Okay. So this is my table. I've got my employees and my sales. So I'll select this. Okay. I'll go to where I'll get this to create a name manager, where I'll get the option, which tab, from which tab. Hey Bhagwan. Insert data. What do you say? Formula. Yes. Go to the formulas and click on new manager. Click on new. And here you see automatically it is taking as sales. So it is taking from H2 to H7. When I click on OK now, see, I've got my sales. So what I can do equals to, I can write the sum. Instead of providing the range, I'll just type it as done. What happened? Automatically it fetches whatever the rows you have given, right? Array, the whole range. That is, you have given from H2 to H7. So what is your total? 17,700. If I give it as like range from here till here, what is going to happen then? Till here, if I give it, it gets a, right. If the data gets added to the specific below rows, right? So how? Go to the new manager, existing one, instead of H7, type, let's say H20, close. So here what you are doing, you are increasing your range. If I copy this only and just paste it till 20. So right now it is 17,700. Now can you tell me till here it will count? Till 26? Till 20 only. So what is the 20 total? 55,100. See this. Here you see 55,100 and your total is still here. So how many range you are going to provide this to create a particular name manager as a table? That much it is going to calculate automatically. So rather than providing the range, you can directly give the table name. This is the use of it. Okay. The same way here, I have created the examples. Now here you see the total is 9,700. So what does it mean? Till here when it was created, it was given the range till here to this. That's why it is 9,700. If I have to get the count of it, right? Tomorrow, I don't know, like, how much data is appended or new data is appended or how many rows are appended. In that case, what I can do is I can use the count A is to A. What do you mean by count A is to A? Now, for example, let's say this is H, column H. Now, if I write it as like count A, what is the difference between count and count A? Count A will have a everything, not only alphabetic. In count A, anything. If you give space also, it will include. If you give a space also, it will include from a count A. See what it says, counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. What does it mean? You update anything, if it is not empty, it is going to count. When you say count, it is going to count only the number of cells in a range that contains numbers. That is the difference. Count blank, obviously we know wherever there are blank, it is going to count the blanks. Countif and countifs are your array functions where we have seen, right? For if is for one condition, it is going to count. Ifs, multiple conditions, it is going to count. Same like sum if, average if, and count if. Okay. All right. Now coming back to this thing, count A. Now I have to give the set of values. So instead of that, if I give it as sales, what will be the answer? 19. Why? It will count it. So it is 24. Why it is not giving? As we have given till only 20. Yeah, that's why it is 90. Right? So by this way, multiple ways we are going to use it. So instead of doing this way, rather than giving the restricted values, I'll just consider this as H colon H. What does it mean, H colon H? The whole column, right? The whole column. If I don't write it, if I use the mouse, so I need to select this whole header and close this. So once I do this, you see I got 20. Why 20? Including your header. Including your header. That is the way how it is going to count it. So that's why H is to H. When we use this when your new data got added and you want to know the number of records. That is what you see in Tableau. When you fetch it into Tableau or a Power BI, it shows you number of records. With the help of this kind of formulas, they'll fetch it. How many rows are there? Yes. According to that, it is going to fetch it. Okay. This is how it is going to work. All right. So these are the different types of name managers. So here we have seen by giving the dynamic range. The next is What is the use of indirect? Indirect, where we use indirect? In which chapter we have used the indirect? Yes, data validation we have seen when we created a name manager at that time. Remember, we created name manager for those, and then we gave a list of cities, country, and then for the cities as an indirect. The same way here we are going to create it. Yes. So indirect, how you're going to use the indirect here now? All right. So if you see here, when you say sum open bracket my dynamic range, what does this my dynamic range means? What is this my dynamic range? It is a name, right? It is a name manager. That is, it is a table name. What you can say is as a table name. So if I go to the data, if you want to know that what all name managers are applied till now, where we go it, go to the formulas, name manager, see my dynamic range, my dynamic range. So what is this my dynamic range is? See. So what is the definition of indirect? Equals to indirect. Returns the reference specified by a text string. Reference means the header, the name, what you have given for your that particular list or name, right? That will be considered as your reference. Yep. All right. Now in this formula, so try to read this formula now. Indirect, open bracket, B2 is to B. What do you mean by B2 is to B here? What exactly try to say? B2 is to B means? From B2 to B means whole. So what is the logic behind? Why not B is to B? Why B2 is to B? Exactly. What we want is we want to get the details from B2 to the last whole B column. Got it? As we are starting from B2 till the whole B column means till your last cell, 10,48,576. So anything is getting updated in the sales will be updated in this particular indirect thing. What we are going to apply. Okay. Now you see. What is this? This is a reference text. What we are giving? A reference text to it. And when we use this and, what is the use of and? What is the definition of and? And logical is different. This and is concatenate kind of stuff, right? We are adding this to. Yes. So and. So in this case, it is this and is working as both. This and this. So the sales whole column and count A. Count A of what? Indirect XFB colon XFB. What is XFB here? It's a value for count A. XFB2 colon XFB. Yes. All right. So, yes. Now here, what is going to get us? Why? Can you tell me why it is 2000 when you gave this particular formula? A is to A, B2 is to B, and count A is A is to A. What would be the reason? Why 2000? Chalo, let's see. Equals to indirect. What do you have to give us? We have to give the text now. So reference text will be within the quotes. So I'm going to give it as like B is to B. And I'm saying that along with that count. Along with that, what I'm saying is to count. And this ends with here quotes, correct. And here we are going to say count A. Count A. This is your reference text 1. And in that again, I am saying indirect. Indirect. So first we'll go with this, the above one. Wait. We'll go with like A is to A. If I go this way, if I have to absolute it, what I need to do, F4. Yeah. This will be wrong. Error. Why is it so? Why error? Because
I'm not sure. We are trying to. Someone's doing that. It says it's
let's see. Okay. If it goes with error. Yeah. Tell me when you get this error as value, what would be the wrong in the syntax here? When we get the value, we learned in if formulas, right? If error, there were different names like reference, num, na. We'll get this kind of errors. When you get this value error, right? Go through that thing and let me know. Okay. When you get the value, what exactly the mistake we have done. So here what we are saying is indirects, reference text, and count A. Yes. So here we are asking it to count it. What we are going to ask him to count with the indirect function? Yes. All right. Now you see the answer is 2000. Why? It gives you the first position. What you have seen here? B2 is to B. If I go and paste it over here again, so I'll get my result as 2000. Okay. So what is the count of it? It is counting it. Yes. Right now it is 6 for 6 employees. So it is showing number of count here. But when you say A is to A, it is going to count your employees as well. Header. When you say sum of dynamic range. So what is your sum of dynamic range? Why it is coming as like 17,700? Because this is your total. You have given the name as a my dynamic range. So it will give you the total. If you want to know what is exactly written in my dynamic range, see indirect B is to B and count A, indirect X F C colon XFC.
So this is what I didn't understand why it's 2000 because we are giving B2 colon entire B.
If I give B3, what it is? 1500. So it is going at the third position. Got the point? This way it works. From where you want the total, you can get your total there. Now, in my dynamic range, what do you have got in my dynamic range? C. So this is the table what it is giving to calculate on this. Okay. When I say my dynamic range, it is counting your B2 is to indirect B is to B. Okay. When you say my dynamic range or offset range, so where it is working for offset range, we'll see. So it is given the offset range to city, population rate, 2 wheels and 4 wheels. Okay. So in the offsite dynamic, it is used. So any doubts in the offsite? How it works, how it creates a table? You want to see it? Control C to copy. Let's. Okay. This is sheet one. And anything what is updated in sheet one needs to get updated in sheet two automatically. Okay. So how you're gonna do it? Equals to, yes, Lakshmi, tell me how to do it. Reference. What would be the reference here? This will be your A1 from the database table. So the position right now, it will be of 0, 0. 0 row, 0 column. It will be at a 0 position. When you say reference, comma, comma, what we are seeing here, row. How many rows? 0. Columns, 0. When I close this, see, it fetches the information from there at the current position. Okay. Now, if I copy this and just paste it across over here, I'll get all my details from there. How it is working here, you see. Look it carefully over here. So here you have got city. When you say city, A1 is to 0 is to 0. Here you see what is changing here, only column number. Column alphabet, A1, B1, C1, D1. Here I've got A2, B2, C2, D2. Okay. Here I've got A3, B3, C3, D3. So it is giving at a 0 position. What if here, if I write the same here, offset, this time I'm going to give the reference to this. Let's say if I consider this. So how many rows and how many columns here now? If I have to get the population rate of Mumbai over here in this particular cell. As city is at a 0 position and 0 rows and 0 column, then if I have to get the population rate below, that is Mumbai's B2 value from sheet 1. Yes? 1, 1, 3. How many of them agree 1, 3? One, 3. How many of them? See, I am asking rows. कितना रो छोड़ के यहाँ पे चाहिए हमको? अब सिटी तो 0 है, तो नेक्स्ट रो क्या होगा? A होगा ना, 1 होगा ना, एक 1 and then comma. When I seeing comma, now it is asking for columns. How many columns you want from the city? This is A is at a 0 position, guys. So what will be your B? 1. It's a 1, 1. Huh? Let's see what is the answer. It comes as 0. Why 0? Let's say there it was like percentage. Let's increase the. No. We have done something wrong. See here how it works basically. Okay. So when you are seeing city as your 0 position, let's say this is the data what we have got it here. Now this becomes A1 0 0. Here you need to give the height and width. What do you have to give? Height and width for it. So it will fetch its, the space. Now what here we are seeing is 3. Row 3. Row 3. Height. The height is 3. and the width is 2. Okay. So in our case, if I have to get this result, what it will be equals to offset reference would be, if I take this reference as this, comma 0, if I give it this 0 as 0, height. How much is the height? 2. Next, 2, comma width 2. Yes, 1, because it has at a 0 position. Let's see, when I say 2, width 2, let's see what happens. I'll get population rate only. See, when this is 0, this becomes 1. For this, for city, it becomes 1, right? For city, it becomes 1. And when you say for Mumbai, what it becomes here? From city to Mumbai's result. So how many column here? 1 column. And for rows, 1. How many of them say 1? Why is that? What we are saying, reference A1, row 0, column 0, height 1, width 1. If I say this as rows 1 here and columns 1, then got it? Control Shift 5 to get your percentage. Shortcut key. Got it now? What we are saying, simple logic. See, don't get confused. We are giving the reference as A1. Here we are saying set of rows, 1 row from the city. And column, how much? 1 column. Yeah, because the whole A becomes 0 for him. A becomes 0 for him. 1 becomes your population rate. What you are saying now, column 1 has population rate. And in that, how much is the width you want us? Like 1 and 1. Yeah, that worked, right? Already we have seen. Without that only it worked. How it worked? See, if I delete this, I just copied and I pasted. It worked. Only what it changed, it never changed its rows and columns position. It just changed the column number, alphabet A, B, C, D. It gave its respective. And again, it started with C. What it stays? Sheet D2. You're saying your reference as sheet D2. Sheet D2. And you're keeping just 0, 0, 0, 0. Got it. Then also it worked. This is how it works. Right now here you say it is blank. Yes, it is blank. Anything gets updated over here. Let's say if I type it as like myself, 36%, 48, 52. Now I've got one more city added over here. When I come here, see, it gets added. So this is how it works, right? Your offset thing. Next is offset dynamic. The same offset can be used into dynamic, means where we can apply within the formula. Here dynamic we can make it. We have got rows and columns, count A, width. So for height and width, what we are giving the count A function. Why? Because what count A will do? Got it? So what we are saying, offset to fetch the information for that particular number what you are getting of count. There you are providing your height and width with the help of number. When I say A1 to A16, what will be the answer? It will give the count of it. A1 to A16 would be the whole thing. How much the data is updated, that will be the count. So here the count would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we are saying, height is 5 and A1 is to E1. So A1, B1, C1, D1, E1. So this becomes A1 is to E1. So how many columns are updated? 3. So what will be the answer here? 3, right? Your height is how much? Right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the answer of count A1 is to A16 will be 5. And your width will be 1, 2, 3 because these are blank and nothing is updated here. So it is gives the answer as 3. That's why you'll get this answer as this way. All right. Here it will automatically update it. But here right now everything is blank. If I type like 2 wheels, here if I write as 3 wheels. See, automatically it got updated, right? If I give it as like whatever it is, 10 wheels or 14 wheels. Yes. So it gets updated over here. So as it is already applied over here, so it is going to get applied across your cells. How the data is going to get updated, columns are going to get updated. But normally when you apply the offsite, if you have not included this, it will never count. If you make it dynamic, that is automated count. So count A is the only thing which what it does. Anything which is not blank, it will start to provide the numbers. That's why we are using count A in height and width. We are using count A's. Why? Because it gives the exact count. Anything is automatically get updated, should get updated in your offsite formula. Clear? Got it? No. Yes. So instead of C, in simple words, what here doing is anything what you type it over here, right? You see, this is manual, na baba. You're typing by your own, becomes static. Tomorrow, if data gets added, appended, columns get deleted, newly added, then it has to fetch automatically. To fetch the automatically, which is the formula count A. Right? Count A will help us to get it updated. That's why instead of this height and width, we are going to use what? Count A for both of the height and width thing. All right. Now let's say offsite dynamic. Wendy? That is the example what I've shown, right? I wanted to get that fetch the table. Whatever is updated in the master data, I have to get in another sheet. In that scenario also, I can use the offset function. Yes. Just to keep the database or the backend, what we can do is we can make use of this. Now, same thing you can use in offsite in names. So instead of giving this whole table or an array, what you'll give? Instead of that, you'll give the name of it. Rather than giving the range. What you can give? You can give your name manager. So this is how it works for name and dynamics. Okay, practice this. So once you practice this, we'll get a lot of examples to use it. I'll give you the scenarios where you need to solve it. If you're not able to solve, then we can discuss and get it solved from the next session. Okay, go through this one by one and practice it. All right. Perfect. So practice this. Any doubts, let me know. We'll meet tomorrow.